Psychopaths walk among us every day, hiding behind charming smiles and calculated conversations, carefully crafting their next move to manipulate everyone around them. Their ability to blend seamlessly into society makes them nearly impossible to detect until they've already caused significant damage to your life, relationships, and emotional well-being. In this video, we'll explore 5 unmistakable signs that you're dealing with a psychopath. But it's not just about recognizing these behaviors. It's about understanding how to protect yourself from them, and even more, how these manipulations can serve as a teaching moment for us to reflect on mindfulness, detachment, and impermanence, which are core to Buddhist teachings. So let's dive right into how you can identify these dangerous individuals and how to guard your own well-being while also applying the wisdom of Buddhism to make better decisions in all aspects of your life. Sign 1, superficial charm. Imagine meeting someone for the first time and instantly feeling like you've known them forever. They listen to everything you say, laugh at your jokes, and make you feel like you're the most important person in the room. They seem to understand you in a way that no one else ever has. It's easy to feel like you found someone special. This feeling is exactly what a psychopath wants you to feel. Superficial charm is their tool to get under your skin. They are skilled at making you feel like you've met someone who truly gets you. They shower you with attention, remember the tiniest details about your life, and seem to align with everything you're passionate about. Suddenly, it feels like this person is your perfect match. But here's the catch. When things don't go their way, or when you stop giving them what they want, that charm disappears fast. The sweet, attentive person you thought you knew can turn into someone cold and distant, or even rude and dismissive. You might try to rationalize their behavior, thinking maybe it's just a bad day, or maybe I did something wrong. But the truth is, their charm wasn't about you at all. It was a tactic to manipulate you. In Buddhist teachings, we are often reminded that attachment leads to suffering. We attach ourselves to things or people that make us feel good, but when those things change or disappear, we suffer. The charm of a psychopath is like a temporary high. It feels good in the moment, but ultimately leaves you feeling empty when it fades away. If we can learn to recognize these superficial connections early on, we can avoid the pain that comes when the mask falls off. The Buddha taught, "Do not be deceived by appearances, for they are impermanent." Understanding that charm is fleeting helps us stay grounded and less vulnerable to manipulation. When we approach relationships with mindfulness, we can avoid falling for charm that isn't genuine. Sign 2, pathological lying and gaslighting. Now let's talk about lying. Not just any lying, but pathological lying, which is when someone lies consistently, even when the truth would be easier. Psychopaths are experts at lying in a way that's seamless, convincing, and purposeful. They don't lie just to deceive, they do it to manipulate your perception of reality. Picture this. You're holding a blue mug, and the psychopath insists with total confidence that it's a red teacup. At first you laugh, but then they keep insisting. They point out every reason why you're wrong, and suddenly you start doubting yourself. Wait, could it be red in some light? They twist your reality until you're not sure what's true anymore. This is gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone makes you question your own reality, memory, and even sanity. Over time, it erodes your confidence and makes you feel like you can't trust yourself. This is a very powerful tactic used to control and manipulate. In Buddhism, right view is about seeing things as they truly are. It's about understanding reality without distortion, not being swayed by false perceptions or the tricks of others. When you encounter someone who manipulates the truth, it's important to hold on to your own sense of reality. The Buddha said, "Do not accept anything just because it is spoken or rumored. But when you see it is right and it brings you peace, then accept it." This teaching invites us to trust our own perceptions and wisdom. When you sense that someone is manipulating your reality, don't ignore that feeling. Trust your intuition and stay grounded in the truth you know to be real. Mindfulness can help you stay aware and alert so you don't fall into the trap of manipulation. Both of these signs, superficial charm and pathological lying, are tactics used by psychopaths to manipulate and control. But by practicing mindfulness, we can recognize these behaviors early and protect ourselves. Mindfulness isn't just about meditation. It's about being aware of our thoughts, feelings, and the intentions of those around us. It helps us see things clearly, without the distortion of false appearances or manipulative tactics. In Buddhist philosophy, impermanence teaches us that nothing lasts forever, not relationships, not charm, and not lies. If we learn to let go of the need for validation or the desire to hold on to every relationship, we can save ourselves from suffering. Detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means finding peace in knowing that we can handle change and uncertainty without being knocked off balance. As the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh teaches, when you look deeply into your heart, you will know the truth. And when you know the truth, you will be free. This wisdom encourages us to trust our inner wisdom, to recognize when something feels off, and to act accordingly. By embracing mindfulness, we can better understand the behavior of those around us and avoid falling into traps set by manipulators. It's not about being paranoid, it's about being aware and staying grounded in what is real and true. The more we practice this awareness, the more we protect ourselves from those who seek to deceive and control. Ultimately, it's about living with clarity, recognizing charm for what it is, seeing through lies, and staying true to ourselves in the face of manipulation. This is the path to emotional freedom and peace. Sign 3, lack of empathy and emotional depth. Imagine going through a tough time, like losing someone close, and you turn to a person for comfort. But instead of feeling truly understood, their response is cold, detached, or robotic. They say the right things, but it feels like they're just going through the motions, like they don't actually care. This is a clear sign of someone who lacks empathy. Psychopaths can read your emotions and mimic the right responses, but they can't truly feel what you're feeling. They understand emotions intellectually, but they don't experience them. So when you're suffering, they don't feel your pain. They only react because it's what they're expected to do. When you share something personal or vulnerable, they might use it against you later. Instead of connecting with you emotionally, they exploit your weaknesses for their own gain. And once they're done using you, they'll discard you just as easily as they once praised you. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to practice compassion, the ability to feel others' pain and genuinely want to help. But psychopaths don't have this compassion. They're emotionally empty, and they only see others as tools to get what they want. The Buddha taught that we should connect with others in a meaningful way, but we must also protect our hearts from people who can't offer that genuine connection. The Buddha said, if you light a lamp for someone, it will also brighten your own path. True compassion comes from recognizing and helping others without expecting anything in return. But when we see that someone can't give us that emotional depth, it's important to let go of expectations and protect our own peace. When you realize someone lacks empathy, it's time to set boundaries. You can still offer compassion, but don't let yourself be emotionally drained. Recognize when a relationship is unhealthy and learn to detach. Mindfulness helps you see the truth of the situation without getting lost in it. The Buddha reminds us that letting go of what we can't change leads to peace. Focusing on relationships where empathy and genuine care are mutual will bring you more peace and fulfillment. These are the connections that truly nourish you, and that's where you should invest your emotional energy. Sign 4, parasitic lifestyle and exploitation. One of the most insidious traits of a psychopath is their parasitic lifestyle, a deep-rooted pattern of exploiting others for their own gain. They view people not as individuals with feelings and worth, but as tools to be used. Whether it's emotional, financial, or physical, they see other people's resources as their entitlement. They won't hesitate to drain everything they can from you, only to discard you once they're done. At first, they make you feel like you're the most important person in their life. They shower you with affection, compliments, and attention. They seem perfect, ideal in every way. But this is just the start of their manipulation. Once they've gained your trust and attachment, they begin to subtly devalue you. They criticize you, belittle your efforts, and manipulate your emotions to make you feel worthless. And when they have used up everything they need from you, your love, your time, your resources, they'll discard you without a second thought, moving on to the next person in line. This cycle of idealize, devalue, and discard is predictable, and it's a pattern that many psychopaths follow. It's like a game for them. Gain your trust, get what they want, and move on without any emotional attachment. In relationships with a psychopath, there is no true give and take, only taking. Financially, they might manipulate you into giving them money, co-signing loans, or supporting their ventures. They will present these requests as investments in your future together, but the truth is they have no intention of ever reciprocating. They'll drain you dry, only to leave when you no longer have anything left to give. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the dangers of attachment, the idea that our desires can lead us into unhealthy relationships. Just as a leash attaches itself to a host and takes without giving, we can become attached to people who only seek to drain our energy. The Buddha once said, "Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die." When we allow ourselves to be exploited by someone who offers nothing in return, we are essentially drinking poison, harming ourselves. The key to freeing ourselves from these toxic relationships is to recognize when we are being used and detach before it's too late. Sign 5. Impulsivity and lack of responsibility. Psychopaths are often impulsive. They act on whims without considering the long-term consequences of their actions. They are constantly seeking novelty, adventure, and stimulation, and this need for excitement leads them to make reckless decisions. They might jump from one job to another, one relationship to the next, leaving a trail of chaos behind them. What makes their impulsivity even more dangerous is that they refuse to take responsibility for their actions. If things go wrong, they never acknowledge their role in the failure. Instead, they shift the blame onto someone else. They'll spin elaborate stories to portray themselves as the victim, always explaining how circumstances beyond their control led to the disaster. Their history is filled with broken promises, abandoned responsibilities, and emotional damage left in their wake. This lack of accountability is one of the most destructive traits of a psychopath. They create chaos wherever they go without ever owning up to the consequences. Whether it's losing a job, ruining a relationship, or getting into debt, the blame is always someone else's. It's exhausting to deal with someone who constantly evades responsibility, leaving you to clean up the mess they've made. In Buddhism, there's a powerful teaching about responsibility and karma, the idea that our actions have consequences. The Buddha said, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." This teaching reminds us that our actions and inactions have lasting effects. When we act impulsively, without consideration for others or the consequences, we set in motion a cycle of negative outcomes. But when we take responsibility for our actions, we can break that cycle and begin to create positive, healing karma. Psychopaths, however, never take responsibility for their actions. They refuse to acknowledge the damage they've caused. They are trapped in a cycle of blame shifting, never learning from their mistakes and never growing. It's important to recognize when someone is refusing to own their actions and to set boundaries before they drag you into their destructive behavior. Both of these signs, parasitic exploitation and impulsivity, are rooted in the same mindset: self-centeredness. Psychopaths view relationships as opportunities to extract what they can without ever giving back. They act impulsively, seeking short-term gratification without considering the impact on others. This behavior is not just occasional, it's their lifestyle. In Buddhism, the concept of interconnectedness teaches us that we are all connected to each other. Our actions affect others, and their actions affect us. By recognizing when someone is treating us as a tool for their own benefit, we can protect ourselves and avoid being caught in their destructive patterns. It's not about cutting them off or seeking revenge. It's about setting healthy boundaries and protecting our emotional and mental well-being. The Buddhist teachings on mindfulness and detachment offer us the tools to navigate these toxic relationships. By being mindful of our own emotions and staying grounded in the present, we can recognize when someone is exploiting us. Detaching from the need to please or fix others allows us to step back and see the situation for what it is. In the end, true freedom comes from recognizing when we're being used, when we're caught in unhealthy patterns, and having the courage to walk away. It's about choosing relationships that nourish us, not drain us. As the Buddha taught, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. By taking responsibility for our own happiness and well-being, we stop allowing others to exploit us and start building the life we truly deserve. The key to surviving a relationship with a psychopath is recognizing these signs early and understanding that running is often the best course of action. It's not about changing them or fixing them. Psychopaths are incapable of real change. Their behavior is deeply ingrained, and trying to save them will only drain you emotionally, mentally, and physically. By practicing mindfulness, you can better identify when you're being manipulated or exploited. Understanding the nature of these relationships through the lens of impermanence and detachment will help you avoid the suffering that comes from attachment to toxic individuals. Always trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. Psychopaths thrive on manipulation and deceit, but with the right awareness and tools, you can protect yourself from falling into their traps. You deserve relationships that are rooted in mutual respect, trust, and understanding, not manipulation and exploitation.